Okay, I normally don't get into a conversation like this, but because this is something that is personal to me for different reasons, I'm going to share this with you. There is a real controversy about a corporation that has been very well liked, especially in the southeastern part of the United States for many, many years. Ever since Pam and I were married, actually, I can remember, called Cracker Barrel, which is in most states along the interstate, again, especially in the southeast. It's not just in the southeast, but that's where the core support, to my knowledge, has been. When you go into these stores, if you're familiar with it, you have a huge shop, you have like a candy store, you have a store that you can shop in while you're waiting. And then when you go inside, they have the big fireplace, and they're all basically built the same. But it's kind of a nostalgia type of thing where it takes you back to, in fact, I like to go in sometimes and just read like the articles they have on the wall, the things they have on the wall, because it reminisces about when you grew up as a kid, especially if you grew up in the 50s and 60s and that time frame. And so now there's a change taking place in which they're redoing not only the sign, and to me the sign's not that big of a deal, but when they do the interiors, some of the things they're discussing just seems very strange when it comes to tradition. So let me just talk to you for a moment about Southern tradition. For those of you that do not live in the southeastern states, we have the SEC, the Southeastern Conference in the Southeast, and football is a huge thing in the fall months from usually around September all the way through January now, because it is a tradition. Now, Southern people have their traditions, and they're very traditional people. But let me go back to the restaurant issue, because when you are 50 years of age, and Cracker Barrel has been built by families that bring their children in, and a lot of senior citizens that like to drop by when they're with their campers, when they're traveling, when they're on the road. And one of the things that has been a big selling point for them over the years, at least in my opinion, is breakfast, because sometimes I'll be driving and I'll see the sign and I'll say, Pam, I want to get breakfast. And so that's kind of one of the things that's made them popular, in my opinion. And some of this will be my personal opinion here from just years of traveling. But one of the things that has made it popular is that the nostalgia. For example, when you have been raised the way I was raised in West Virginia, and we lived in southwestern Virginia, now in Tennessee, then you were raised with certain toys growing up. And now what happens is when you turn 50 or older, you go to the antique stores, you start seeing your toys, and you realize you're an antique. But it brings back memories. This is my point. When a person turns 50 years of age, those who study the human brain say that there's one or two things that happens. There's a cognitive change in the brain at age 50, of which you either are now living in memories or you begin to live in vision. You start planning in the future, you're a visionary, or you start living in memories. This has been the success of the Bill Gaither videos, is because the videos take people back to camp meetings in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, takes them back to church conventions, takes them back to under the big tents. And so the music sparks a memory. Now, if Bill Gaither were to change his Southern gospel music and his hymn book music into a more contemporary worship situation, it really would not go over. I would say he would lose about 80% of those people who are with him. However, what is happening in the food industry, in my opinion, is that they realize that a lot of the people that are have made the particular food chain that we're speaking about popular have been older people. Well, what begins to happen is the older people are passing away. You know, they were 70, 80 years of age. They passed away. They're in their 60s. Maybe they don't get out and travel as much, and there's been some changes in travel because of the economy. So what they're doing now is taking a lot of the things. Now, what I'm reading is lighter paint, simpler decor, brighter lighting, fewer of the antiques, which really makes it the ambience, if I can use the term ambience there. And what the backlash has been this, quote, Cracker Barrel, viral posters saying that most of the people that have been there for years that eat there do not like it. Fans describe it as sterile, soulless. The logo change is being accused of being woke. And some of the commentaries of the news media organizations. I'm not going to quote all of them, but there's about 7, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, CBN News, Fox News, Daily Wire, Grassroots, Facebook groups are just calling it a sellout of a heritage, a sellout of tradition, corporate America abandoning tradition in favor of sterile conformity. And so this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to make this statement right here. Time is going to tell if people like these changes or not. At this point, most people, let's say in my town, what they're hearing, they say, this is ridiculous and this is crazy. Now, I will tell you this from a personal perspective, and I'm not promoting anything. I don't do that on YouTube or either through the ministry. But I will say this, that when my wife and I go eat breakfast, there are places in our town, and it's different restaurants other than the one we're speaking about. One of them is so packed. The food is so good. It's so different, but it's so packed because of the quality of the food and the type of food that it is, that we the other day had to stand in line for 30 minutes to get in. On the weekend especially, it's almost impossible for hours to actually get a seat, and you have to wait because it's becoming that popular. There was another place in Chattanooga that had 2 different locations, and we would sometimes drive all the way to Chattanooga because of honestly, their homemade biscuits and gravy, and some of the food that they had there was so different from what you would traditionally get in other places. So what brings people to a restaurant? Number one, I'm not going to put these in the order of a poll. Number one is absolutely the quality of the food and the type of food it is. Is it good quality food? If it is, they will probably stay in business. Number 2 is the service. How is the service? Are the servers friendly? Are they on time? Now, for a breakfast place, a lot of it has to do with the coffee. And I've been to some places that they should arrest the person who's making the coffee for impersonating coffee. It's so bad. And I've been to other places, it's like, wow, what do you guys use here? And they'll tell me the type or the brand, and the people know what they're doing. So you have the food, you have the service, but you also have an ambience. And so for this particular chain that we're talking about, they have built their entire chain, number one, mostly in the southeastern part of the United States. Number 2, where people are very traditional. Number 3, with people that have basically been between 40, 50, 60 years of age, who like to go in and they like to see those old things they grew up with. It brings back memories. Again, people over 50 years of age often lean back on memories. That's why Bill Gaither's music is so popular. That's why when you go to change a church, if it's older people, they have a real problem with decor. They have a real problem with the colors. They have real problems with how you change it. If you take away the altars, the pulpits, or the pews, or whatever, some of the people get upset. And that's just how it is. It's just going to be that way. The older that you get, you kind of rely and you kind of revert back to your earlier days. There was a church in town here that was getting ready to build, and they were going to put in theater seats, which people could get in and out easier for an altar call, because when you put in a theater seat, the seat goes up when you stand up. Well, they had a discussion with the older people. They said, no, we want pews. So they decided to put chairs in the back and pews in the main part of the church. Well, guess where the older people like to sit? The very ones that wanted pews now like to sit in the chairs in the back. So I told the pastor, I said, I would go ahead and put in theater seats, because that's where everything is going to. But there again, people like their tradition. When football teams change their outfits, people get upset because they like the outfit to be the outfit they have seen for 10, 20, 30, and 40 years. Changing emblems, for example. I know there was a big controversy with the Washington Redskins that I grew up with as a kid, changing their symbol and changing everything to Washington Commanders, which is, it's fine with me, but there were people that were very, very upset because people like tradition. So we're going to find out if this works or it doesn't work. Now, my opinion will be there will be places in the southeastern part of the United States where people are just going to say, no. And, sometimes it's based on food quality, sometimes it's based on service. But when you take away the memories that people have and the ambience and that home feeling, what it reminds you of, it's like going to grandma's house at Christmas or Thanksgiving. That's what it reminds you of. So when you take the ambience out and you change it because you're trying to change it for a younger generation. Let me tell you about the younger generation. The younger generation eats fast food, and the younger generation goes goes to pizza places, and the other generation goes to drive-thrus. Where you see this particular type of restaurant is people that are in their 30s with their younger kids, 40s, 50s, 60s, and older. That's been the core customer group. So when you start changing those type of things, I just sometimes think that people that are in corporations, whether it's in a major city and they're in the penthouse floor trying to figure these things out by surveys or trying to get super woke or super updated, I just think they don't know the base of the American people. So it will be the American people that will decide how they like this, or if they like it, or if they don't, if they just say, there's other places that we can go to. I'm neutral on it because, I'm not one that goes out and eats a lot except when we're traveling on the road, usually on weekends. And Pam and I have certain areas that we go to on date nights anyway. But we're going to see what's going to happen. So it's going to be, the opinions from what we know in our town are very negative. The opinions of a lot of people that have been familiar with what they're doing are negative. But again, we'll see what happens. And so when you change something like that and they say, well, the food is the same, it's the ambience, it's the nostalgia, that's what people like. And when you remove that and you take it out, it's like going into an antique store and there's no antiques. You know what I'm saying? I mean, why stop at the antique store when there's no antiques? So when you change the nostalgia and the ambience, and again, we're going to see how it goes. So that's kind of my update at this point. I know this is different because a lot of times mine is based on biblical updates, but I had to get my little comments in there about that. So I'm 66 and I like some traditions and I like nostalgia and I like old things. And I said one time, I'm going to get me a hat. I like antiques because I am one. So some of you know what I'm talking about. Well, just thank you for joining. And if you think that this is, well, give it a thumbs up and just let us know that you're watching and keep watching our YouTube channel. We certainly appreciate it. We always tell you to watch till the end, subscribe to the channel, which is very important. Thank you so much.
God has reserved the revelation of many prophetic mysteries for the time of the end, a time when knowledge shall increase. Daniel declared, "None of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand." This powerful truth is what inspires us to host an annual prophetic summit, bringing together America's leading speakers and revelators, all gifted in discerning and interpreting end-time events. The 2025 Summit featured 14 powerful services with 7 prophetic leaders that Perry Stone is now making available to you in this special Manifest TV offer. When you order, you'll experience these 5 insightful messages from Perry. Is Trump a reformer leading a great American reset? Feasting on the wrong blood, Christians that are fellowshipping with demons. Why is God shaking churches and ministries before the rapture? The Vision, chastisement because of defiant Christians, the nomophobia strike. How angelic demonic wars in heaven are affecting weather on earth. Joseph Z. illustrated his unique insights on the whiteboard with a revelation on the spirit of Elijah, the future of America. Bill Cloud brought Hebraic insight to the summit with these 2 messages. He is about to turn the tables over. He trains my hands for war. Mark Biltz used PowerPoint illustrations and charts to reveal Hebrew nuggets in his 2 teachings. Genesis mysteries from the Hebrew language. Birth pangs of the final redemption. John Kilpatrick posed the question, "The earth is speaking. Are you listening?" Plus, Jonathan Cahn expounds with a powerful message tracing the dragon's attack on Israel, and Mario Murillo hits hard with his message, "Away with the sissy false prophets." All 14 messages are now available on DVD for $95 and audio CD or USB drive for $65. This offer is also available for purchase as a digital audio download and video on demand when you visit perrystone.org. DVDs and video on demand include all PowerPoints, whiteboards, scriptures, and illustrations shown by the speakers. You'll receive over 14 hours of prophetic teaching, an investment in knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Your purchase helps Perry Stone Ministries continue a global outreach. To order, visit perrystone.org or call toll-free 1-888-21-BREAD. That's 1-888-212-7323. Or write to Perry Stone, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. Include your check and the appropriate offer number. For DVDs, use offer number 25PS-DVD. For CDs, use offer number 25PS-DVD. PS-CD. And for USB drive, use offer number 25PS-USB. If you love biblical prophecy, this could be your greatest spiritual investment in 2025. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Searching for a message that inspires and uplifts, delivered precisely when you need it? Perry Stone offers immediate access to a vast collection of teachings grounded in God's Word. Visit perrystone.org/downloads to explore over 400 digital audio teachings in MP3 format, compatible with any device. Simply select your teaching, complete your purchase, and receive an instant download link, both on the checkout page and via email. Click Save As to store it securely, ensuring unrestricted access whenever you need it. For those who prefer video, perrystone.tv provides a dedicated video-on-demand platform featuring the latest conferences, teaching series, and Perry Stone's current manifest messages, all available instantly. This direct approach eliminates shipping fees and delays, especially beneficial for international audiences as it bypasses prolonged transit times. Plus, when making international purchases, your payment card automatically converts foreign currencies to your home currency using the exchange rate provided by the payment network, simplifying the transaction process. Whether audio or video, it's a timely, impactful word ready whenever you are.